Hello. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear my voice and also see my screen clearly. So today's webinar, we're just going to look at how to trade news. I think we've done something like this in the past. There was a webinar where we were looking at strategies towards trading news. We looked at some other things which we didn't mention. Not much, but I think there are some things which we just did not mention, not deliberately, but at that time those are the most important things to look at. So today I want us to look at news and how to trade news, the best, simplest strategy that you can be using when there is news. So one thing is this, that unless you have a good strategy, it is better to stay outside when news is being released, especially when a major news is being released. This week on Friday, we do have the NFP being released, so be very, very careful. If you don't have a good strategy, or if you're still thinking about whether to trade or not to trade, or you're still looking for a good strategy, then I would recommend that you stay aside during this further the NFP is being released. So that's the first thing. Something else is, if you're a news trader, then you don't want to hold trades for a long time, because news does not last for a long time. Like, the impact will be there for some times, but the immediate effect happens almost immediately and it dies. So that means that if you're buying maybe an instrument because there's a news concerning that instrument, that the instrument is supposed to go upwards, if you buy it based on that and the price goes up, it is always very good and safe to step out when the price actually has gone the way you wanted it. Not many pips, not too few pips, but when the prices just move slightly direction, then it is always very good to step out of that trade and take what's already given to you by the market. So there is something which I mentioned some few days ago. You have to learn how to recognize consolidation if you are to trade news. So you must learn how to trade. You must learn how to recognize consolidations if you are to trade news successfully. Why am I saying this? Because what normally happens is, just before news, a lot of traders will basically just stay aside, which means nothing significant will be happening for like maybe 1 hour or 2 hours to the news. Then when the news comes up and there's a major move, then a lot of traders will be looking to dive into trades when the news is happening. That's why you may see something like this. There's no move, there is no move, there is no move, and then suddenly it spikes in this direction. So when this happens, it means some news has just been released, and we do expect, based on that news, that the price is likely going to move in that direction. So that's the only instance when you look for a buy position if you are trading news. The opposite is this: when you have something like a range where the price keeps consolidating in between, just before news, an hour or two before the news, have your pending buy limit, buy stop, at the tip of the highest high within that range. Then also have your sell stop at the tip of the lowest low there, and your take profit should be a fixed number of pips. So this means we'll have two trades opened. We'll have the first one and we'll have the next one. If the price goes up and breaks or attempts to break above it, this buy stop is triggered. That means we're in a buy and it goes our way slightly, we pick that profit. If it goes down, when the price has gone up and the profit has been taken, usually the price would again go down, and that is, so basically this is what I look for when I'm trading, especially the NFP news. 1 hour to the release of this news, I would just sit on my chart and then focus mostly on instruments that have USD attached to them, either as the base currency or as the cost currency. Then I'll identify a zone, that's the highest high, the lowest low, have my pending buy stop, have my pending sell stop, and wait and see what happens when the news is released. So sometimes the news is going to be released and the price spikes instantly direction, or the news may be released and the price moves exactly opposite that direction. Either way, if you have two stop trades, you're going to be triggered, and chances are you're going to be successful in either of them. So that is simply what I wanted to add here. So assuming you have this chart, the price goes up, then this is early in the morning, mid morning, midday, then it begins to consolidate like 3 hours to the news itself. You find something like this, the price goes up, but nothing actually is happening. So you're like, should I buy, should I sell? If you notice that news is coming up and this is happening, do not buy or do not sell, especially on market. So you'll have that. So just 10 minutes or 20 minutes to when the news is released, have a pending buy stop here and have a pending sell stop here, and then wait and see what happens. So most likely when the news is released, the price will spike instantly, either upwards or in the opposite direction or downwards. When that happens, you take your money at few pips or above at few pips and you step out of that trade. So I think that is the only thing that I wanted to clarify for this one. That's the only main thing that I wanted to clarify. So something else is, if you're trading news other than the NFP, then you have to be careful which instrument you are trading. That is, if you are trading gold and the news affects maybe silver, the news is affecting something like Japanese yen, then there is very little correlation between gold and Japanese yen. So in such a case, the news may not likely affect the gold which you're trading. So the idea is, if the news is affecting the yen, look for currency pairs that have the yen in them. If the news is affecting the British pound, look for currency pairs that have the British pound on them and trade only those currency pairs. If the news is NFP like the one you're waiting for, wait for a range. That is, identify the highest high, the lowest low 2 or 3 hours before the news, and wait for, have your pending buy stop, sell stop at the highest high and the lowest low for that range. When the market, or when the news comes up, one of those lines are going to be triggered and are going to be in money, definitely. So this is strictly for scalpers. There is no long-term trading, day trading. You enter a peep, you are in profit, you step outside. So thank you very much. That should basically be what I wanted us to talk about today. I hope to see you again next week on Wednesday at the same time. Thank you and see you.